people like Preach are the ones that I think that it's the most important that are converted over to being fans about being classic, right? Because one of his concerns, I think, is very true, right? Is that whenever classic comes out, is that going to tell Blizzard, okay, well, we'll just make all the hardcore players go to classic and all of the, slot machine babies play BFA? And I think that might happen. I hope it doesn't. What I hope happens is that Blizzard realizes and they see how many people like classic and why it's such a good game. And then they say, hey, what the fuck are we doing? Let's try to make our game more like the one that everybody likes, even though it's 10 years ago, right? And I don't know really, I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but I do share Preacher's concern that if they do have two games, Blizzard might just start developing BFA and the current retail game to be even more basically a phone game. That's totally fucking true. And I don't know really what we could even do about that. I mean, it sounds like something that sucks, but what do we really, like, how do we stop that from happening? I don't fucking know. There'll be more casual. Aren't there more casuals than hardcore players? Well, it depends on how you define casual and hardcore, right? I think that Classic is a better game for casual players. I don't think that, Classic WoW is for hardcore players and BFA is for casuals, because there's a lot of things in BFA that are much more hardcore than Classic ever was. I mean, you think about farming out your necklace to level 50 by doing the same fucking bullshit island expedition 50 times. Like, that's way worse than almost anything else in Classic WoW, especially things you actually needed to do, right? I mean, you could look at the Winter Spring Frost Sabers and say, okay, yeah, it's not that bad. But for the most part, I mean, a lot of the grinds you have to do in BFA are equally horrible, if not even worse than the grinds that you had to do in Classic. So this idea that Classic is somehow hardcore friendly in a way that BFA isn't is completely fucking stupid. And I get why people think that, I do, but the thing is that what Preach is saying about using your abilities and seeing the impact of your abilities and the impact of your time, yes, obviously that does favor players that are able to put more time into the game, but that's what a game like this is supposed to do. And it creates classes of players and it creates aspiration. Whenever you die to somebody with really, really good gear, you can blame yourself, you can get mad or whatever, or you can try to actually get better gear and outplay them. And because there are other ways besides skill to be able to beat people, it actually makes the game more casual friendly, because there's going to be tons of people that play Classic that fucking suck at it, and they're always going to suck at it. But if they have full tier 2.5 and let's say Might of Minotho, they're still going to win. Doesn't matter, because they've got really good gear. And that's the way that games work. I'm counting on it. Let me tell you that. I'm really counting on it. And there's plenty of different things like this. Like what Preach is saying, everything that he's saying about Classic is totally true. I've done this quest right here, the Cyclonian quest, 3 or 4 times for different warriors in my guild. Why have I done it? Because I felt like if we had more warriors with the Whirlwind Axe, we'd be better as a guild in World PvP. I have never helped anybody with a quest in BFA, and I don't think I ever did in Legion either. Why? Because fuck them, who cares? It doesn't matter. If they can't complete it on their own, they suck anyway. Why would you, what quest would you even be able to hypothetically help somebody do? There would be nothing. And all of these different things that Preach is talking about are completely true. And it's the secondary effects, the feels, right? And I know it's kind of a meme, feels over reals. But Classic WoW proves that shit is true. That's why Ian has to sit there in the Q&As and explain why people should be having fun. A game should never have to explain to you why you're having fun or why you should have fun. People in BFA and current WoW have to go out of their way to have fun. People in Classic WoW have fun by playing the game. Whenever I play BFA and I level through BFA, I get nothing. I actually lose things because I'm losing my tier set bonuses and everything else. I lose things. In Classic, I level up, I gain abilities, I'm able to train those abilities, and I am in more control of my character. I have more agency over the outcome of my gameplay. In BFA, you are put, it's like a theme park. But the only problem with BFA and being a theme park is whenever you find a good ride that you like a lot, Blizzard shuts it down. Every time people figure out some kind of cool way of doing stuff, Blizzard shuts it down. Because they have a very, very defined way that they want people to play the game. They have created a flowchart probably at Blizzard headquarters of every single checklist that all players should be doing. And if people are going outside of that checklist, outside of that flowchart, they X that box right the fuck out of the entire game. Fun detected. I understand that Blizzard doesn't want to have things that are completely OP, but the issue is that there's a lot of things like this, right? Like this right here. Why would somebody go out and kill random like level 37 elite and just spend like he probably spent like 10 minutes killing this mob? And you know what he got out of it? Most likely, nothing. Got nothing out of it. Because you're on an adventure. And it's a role-playing game. I don't think BFA, people don't even treat BFA like a game anymore. Like, I don't know, what would you say that people treat BFA like? Like, I don't know if the right word is for it. It's not a casino. I think that's way too two-dimensional. Like an addiction, a chore. Maybe like a school class. I think maybe like a class in school. That would be a pretty good analogy for me, right? Is that you have your, you go and you do your homework. That's your island expeditions. And then you do your in-game classwork. That's your Mythic Plus dungeons. And then, finally, let's see what you've learned in your classwork and your homework. Here's the raid, and that's your final exam or, your test that you're taking in the class. I feel like you can go on and on with the metaphors, and the only difference there, obviously, is you don't have, like, the random generators that BFA has. But, I mean, like, yeah, I think that it's either a habit, a checklist, but the last thing that I would call it would be a game. If the Blizzard devs are not sitting here watching all of these people change their perspectives on Classic and feel the same way, that I'm sure that's the worst part, man, is that a lot of these Blizzard devs probably started playing WoW and that inspired them to work at Blizzard. Like, just go back and remember why you love the game. Like, that was J. Allen Brack. I think he played WoW before he worked at Blizzard, right? Alex Afrasabi, Tom Chilton, I think, as well. Jeff Kaplan, Ian Hasekostas. All of these guys play. I mean, like, why did you play the game? Like, it's just Neckbeard Quiz Season 4 is out. Do it. We'll see what happens, okay, man? They play mobile games now? Well, that's the thing, right? Is like, at a certain point, like, if you don't have the same drive and the same aspiration and the same want to play games like this, I don't think that you should be developing them anymore, right? It's the same as, like, raiding. Like, back whenever I was young, I was, like, in Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King, and Cataclysm. I had a drive to raid that was extremely strong. I would never miss a raid. Well, I would miss raids on bosses I didn't need loot from. But besides that, I would never miss a raid. I would always show up. I would be completely buffed up. I would be ready to go. And I would know everything about the fights before I even went in there. And as time went on, I stopped caring. I got lazy, and it didn't matter to me anymore. Like, why would it matter? Who gives a shit? There's a point where the wheel of time turns, and sometimes it's time for people to ride out into the sunset and not come back. And for me in raiding, that's what happened in Tomb of Sargeras. I rode out into the sunset, I was done, and I didn't come back. If people don't have the same drive and the same love for the game that they used to, and they're playing mobile games all the time instead of playing the game that they're supposed to be developing and making better, then I think that they should look at finding people that actually do have that drive. And at least having those people, if nothing else, inspire the ones that used to have the drive to get it back. Because I don't think like any of the developers I don't think any of them want to destroy the game. I just feel like they don't know what they're doing. Because they're looking at the game from an analytical spreadsheet perspective, and they're not looking at the game from the perspective of what is it that motivates someone. Like you look at this screenshot right here, this picture right here. Preach is the only person that's really getting anything out of this. All of the rest of these players are just helping Preach. And I'm sure some of them, and like for me, example, like what do I really get out of helping somebody else on their Whirlwind axe or getting some sort of item? I don't really get a whole lot out of it at all. But it matters to me still. And I think that's really what makes the big difference. Streamer privilege? Well, no. See, that's the thing, is like you can always write these things off, but why do I go back, turn around, and return the favor to somebody who I don't even know who they're, well, I don't even know what they look like. Like, why would I do that to some random person on a beta? What causes somebody to do that? It's content? No, I'm not even doing it on stream. Like, I'm doing it off stream. Like friendship, streaming, yeah. Public image? What, from one guy? Who cares? You guys can try and write it off as some sort of, self-centered, self-serving goal. But the fact is that there's something a lot deeper than that that's happening. And there's a lot of people probably that haven't played Classic that won't understand that. Enjoyment? Yeah, I don't know, man. Some of us really care? Yeah, exactly. This video was really good. I liked it a lot. I thought it was a great video. And I hope Preach makes more of these videos. Let me read some comments here, and I'll take some responses. I'm no streamer, and I do this. Would you still help? Would you still help if you're level 60? Yeah. What else was I fucking do? Like, I'm only gonna queue BGs for a few hours a day. Then I'm gonna probably get bored of that, and I want to do something else. When the game's hard, it makes you have to interact with other people, and whenever you're out in the dangerous world, you need allies, and it's kind of like, maybe if you want to look at it as not completely an altruistic thing, you're paying it forward. You're helping them, so whenever the time comes, they'll help you. That's what it is. Do you have any concerns with faction balance on servers? Yeah, I think so. I do. I don't know really how bad it's going to be, but of course I'm worried about that. Of course it could happen. Problem is Activision/corporate structure. Well, that's the issue, right? Is that like all of these corporate structures and everything are creating the decisions that are ruining the game. I think that a lot of the decisions and things that happen in WoW are done because of some sort of corporate decision, right? There's some sort of thing like, okay, well, because there are this many people that are enjoying this content, even though everybody says they fucking hate it, they're doing it, so it must be good. Let's do it again, right? And they're just making decisions based off of spreadsheets. Like, that's the real issue.